everybody that have cared to join us tonight to this live broadcast. I incidentally, please, can you mute your mic and you can use earphones because somebody is already in the market buying some vegetables. Can you mute your mic so that it will be possible for everybody to hear us? Mute your mic, please. All right. Very good. I happen to be live on Facebook, on TikTok, and on YouTube. So it will be lovely. It will be lovely. Tonight, we are delving into something. The reason why we are delving into the impossible to die from cancer is because there are a lot of people that are hopeless. You know, every day you can see when they ask questions in the group, they appear to be frustrated. They appear to be desperate. They appear to have failed. But tonight, after this podcast, I can assure you that you will find another reason again to stay focused, because cancer cannot do anything to you. Well, I'm only trying to be intelligent, and I want us to be intelligent. I want us to be smart. I want us to understand the battle that we are in, and I want us to be able to fight that battle and come out from the other end successful. I want you tonight to reject hopelessness. I want you to fight intelligently. Now, smarting cancer requires strategy. It requires discipline. It requires metabolic health. And it requires curiosity. You must consistently ask questions. You must consistently check and find out what people who have succeeded are doing, because you cannot go this battle alone. It is dangerous to try to be in a lone world if you are fighting cancer. Ladies and gentlemen, health warriors, families fighting silently. I know a lot of people are fighting silently. I'm addressing every person who is listening tonight, who has ever been told, maybe by your oncologist, that there is nothing you can do. They have made you powerless by telling you that you have 1 year. They are telling you that your cancer have metastasized. It has spread to the bone. It has spread to the lungs. Now you become powerless. Well, tonight, it's not about fantasy. It's not about denial. It's not about pretending that cancer is easy. Of course, I won't do that. But this is about something that is deeper. This is about strategy. A lot of us don't have strategy. This is about intelligence. You don't need to go to school to become intelligent. This is about refusing hopelessness. A lot of us have already decided that, oh, there's nothing again we can do. But I'll share with you tonight, because one of the deadliest things that happen after a cancer diagnosis is not always the tumor or the cancer itself. It is people now begin to surrender. People now begin to panic. People now get into confusion. People now become isolated. People now begin to look helpless. People now begin to see that they have collapsed metabolically. Now fear begins to set in and loss of direction. I want you to understand that no matter which group from where you join this live broadcast, I put it to you that there is direction for you there. Tonight, we are asking a powerful question. And if you pay attention, I promise you, definitely, you are going to learn the strategy, and you are going to stay focused, and you are going to win. I want you to understand that that cancer that was diagnosed last year or last 2 years, it has been there. There has been continuous assault on your body, unknowingly. But maybe last year it was diagnosed. Then you think, yes, that if you marshal out all the strategies that we used to share, that you're going to beat it in 1 month. No, sometimes it's not practical. to claim that we are going to beat cancer in 1 week. You cannot claim you can beat cancer in 1 year. The reason is because it's been there brewing. There has been a consistent assault on your body. But I bring a good news to you tonight. Your body can become stronger. Your terrain can stop cancer progression. And the answer from decades of research is yes. When we change our internal environment, we will begin to heal. And I've always said it. The truth about healing is it may not happen spontaneously. It may not be a miracle, of course, but it will happen. I've often said if you want to travel to Abuja, you don't enter an SUV going to Lagos. No matter how fantastic that SUV is, it cannot take you to Abuja. So the most important thing is that you stay on course and you stay focused. And a lot of people come into my DM and they complain, yes, that they have fasted and they have done OMAD, 1 meal a day. They have taken turmeric, curcumin. They have taken ivermectin. They have taken fenbendazole, but that the tumor is still there. And I see desperation in their voice. But I tell you tonight, it will not happen spontaneously. But be it as it may, it will happen. So I'm going to share with you about cancer metabolism, how it metabolizes. I'm going to share with you about oxygenation, the importance of taking in oxygen. I'm going to share with you about immune resilience. How do you build that resilience? I'm going to share with you about strategic nutrition. How do you strategize your nutrition so that you can starve cancer and feed your cells, feed your immune so that it can track cancer and terminate them? I'm going to teach you about discipline, about consistency. There are several documented scientific ideas that continue to reshape how many researchers think about chronic disease. And let me say this clearly from the beginning. A lot of people are in the grave today. Listen to me. It's not because they don't have money to treat cancer. The founder of Apple, Mr. Steve Jobs, was sometimes the third richest man in the world. Money was not the problem. In fact, when I was reading one of his books, he said that if $20,000 fell off his briefcase, that it will be better for him to continue going to where he's going than stay back to pick up the $20,000. Because in seconds, he's making more than $20,000. For you to understand how rich Mr. Steve Jobs is. So he's rich enough to surround himself by the best oncologists that money can hire. But he died. He died from a little bit of ignorance. So tonight, it's not only about education, it's about exploration, it's about empowerment. Because hopelessness has killed too many people, even before the cancer ever had the chance. Just by telling you that you have cancer, you will remember so and so person. Oh, he died from cancer. So and so person died from cancer. I put it to you tonight. 90% of the people do not die from cancer. They die from the treatment. You need to write this down and meditate over it. 90% of the people did not die from cancer. They died from the treatment. They died from the treatment. Because when you continue that assault without a strategy, taking chemotherapy, taking radiation, taking maybe putting yourself under surgery, taking all kinds of herb, taking all kinds of supplements, eating all kinds of food, just because you want to cure cancer, you are not strategic. At the end of the day, you overwhelm your body, you overwhelm your liver, you overwhelm your metabolic capacity, and you will become weak. So that's why some people come out again, and at the end of the day, you see that the cancer was cured, but they died from liver failure. A lot of people come and we find out that the cancer was cured, but they died from a kidney failure. A lot of people come out and say the cancer was cured, but they died from their lungs being, arrested and stifled out life in it. So what exactly are we talking about when we say being resilient and fighting intelligently? We need to first of all understand what cancer is. Now, most people think that cancer is simply maybe bad cells that are growing. No, It is about ourselves that continue to strive to adapt to the numerous assault that we put out to it. Do you know how many assault that you put out to your body on a daily basis? I'll give you a striking instance. Imagine a peaceful village that is constantly under attack every single day, or attack from smoke generators, attack from processed food, attacks from sugar overload, attack from stress, from poor sleep, from alcohol, from pesticides, from plastics, from heavy metals, from chronic inflammation, from lack of sunlight, from fear, from sedentary living, from air pollution, from smoking. Imagine that environment that is riddled with hormonal chemicals. The last client or patient I chatted with a few hours ago said she was taking hormonal drugs. And when I was trying to discover the root cause of her cancer, we were able to target, and we see that it was because she was taking a lot of contraceptives and hormonal medications. And that was what bred the cancer. Do you know the repeated infections? Every day, most of us in Nigeria are treating malaria and typhoid. How many months, how many days in a month do you treat malaria and typhoid? All those antibiotics, all those anti-malaria medication, all those anti-typhoid medication. These things are assault to your body because they damage your gut, they damage your microbiome, and they create an environment that fuels the growth of cancer. You know why? I've shared with you. These cells continue to adapt. Your cells continue to find a way to adapt to the assault you are putting out to it. From the antibiotics you are taking on a daily basis, from the emotional trauma that we are facing. For some of us in Nigeria that are working, our basic income is not even enough to buy food for our children. It is enough emotional trauma. When I talk about oxygen deprivation, people can't breathe because you are managing. A lot of us, 5 people will live in one room. They can't breathe properly. Even their phones, their bed, they can't change it. They don't have money. They can't get into a ventilated room. In the night, it's stuffy. And that's why they spend 8 hours of their life every day for 10 years, for 20 years, for 30 years. That is an assault to the body. Imagine these villagers who I will now liken to be your cells. At first, those cells will cope. They will try to adapt with all the assault. Then they will begin to survive abnormally. Now, listen to me. Cancer may not begin as the body trying to die, but as cells that desperately, continually try to survive in a damaged environment. The question you must ask yourself, all these years you have had a damaged environment. The question you ask yourself is, what have you changed? What have you changed about your environment? Do you continue to take painkillers upon painkillers upon painkillers? Do you continue to eat processed foods loaded with preservatives that improve the shelf life of the food and derange your vital organs? Do you continue every day to drink water that is polluted, that has typhoid in it? Do you continue every day to stay in an environment and you are treating malaria every day and you are doing nothing about it? What have you changed since you were diagnosed of cancer? So this is an important question for us. Now, cancer involves altered metabolism. I'm noticing reverberation. I think I have to go off of TikTok to see if this reverberation can stop. All right, people that are in TikTok that have joined, I've already seen more than 500 people joined us on TikTok. Doc, is it clear for you that side?
It's very clear for me. I'm listening.
Okay, there's no reverberation. Because there's reverberation. When I talk, it bounces back to me. That's why I'm asking. All right, I talk about immune evasion. I talk about mitochondrial dysfunction. I talk about abnormal signaling. I talk about angiogenesis, about oxidative stress. Now, one of the most influential scientific observations I want to use as an example is from a man called Otto Warburg. That happened in 1910. Otto Warburg observed that many cancer cells rely heavily on glycolysis, even when oxygen is available. So this became what is called the Warburg effect. Please pay attention, it's important because you will understand oxygenation and how to treat cancer by just taking in oxygen. So it opened a lot of scientific discussion around both glucose metabolism, insulin signaling, oxygen utilization, and especially mitochondrial function. And this is where strategy becomes important. Because if cancer cells can adapt aggressively, then intelligently, we must also adapt intelligently. Not emotionally, not to cry, not to be afraid, not to be desperate, not to be fearful. Because I consult with many patients on a daily basis and I see fear, I see anxiety, I see desperation. What I want to see is strategy. You must be strategic and you must be smart to beat cancer because cancer is adaptive. So you must also become disciplined. Now, there are many people who approach cancer emotionally. Today, they fast. Tomorrow, they start taking sugar. They cheat. Next week, they stop sleeping. They begin to panic. Now, they search for 100 miracle cures and they are in your inbox telling you what medication now can stop the cancer or can cure the cancer. But I want you to understand tonight, biology respects consistency. You need to write it down. Your biology, your body respects consistency. You developed cancer because you consistently harmed your body without knowing. It was not your fault. Nobody told you. The food manufacturers, they continue to try to sell you food without trying to make sure that you are eating right. They want to fatten their purse at your detriment or at the detriment of your health. So it may not be your fault by harming your body consistently without knowing. And in some people, it took 5 years. In other people, it took 10 years, 20 years of harming the body before cancer developed. So when you have a healing plan, you must follow it consistently for more than 1 month, for more than 3 months, for more than 6 months, for more than 1 year. You must follow it. You must make it a part of your life. Now, me that is talking to you, I do not have cancer. I cannot have cancer. But however, I have made it a point of duty every day, once in a week, to prepare the delicious food I will eat the whole week. I have made it a point of duty to make my smoothie with avocado, with mixed nuts that I will take for the rest of the week. And I store these things in glass jars, put them in the fridge, so that I will not have any opportunity to do binge eating. I do not buy cake to put in the fridge. I do not buy meat pie to put in the fridge. I do not buy anything that goes against it. So you must make it a part of your life. Because I don't want you to beat cancer and die from diabetes. I don't want you to beat cancer and die from hypertension or stroke. I want you to experience another dimension of health. And it's only possible based on you having a working system and having a disciplined healing structure, having a terrain support strategy. And that means you're going to continue to reduce inflammatory overload. You're going to improve your sleep. You're going to try to stabilize your blood sugar level. You're going to improve your nutrient density. A lot of people eat empty foods without knowing, because most of the processed foods are empty. They don't nourish your cells. You're going to begin to support bowel movement. You should be able to go to toilet 2 to 3 times. In fact, every time you have a meal, you should follow for a bowel movement. You're going to reduce ultra processed foods and possibly get rid of them from your life. You're going to support emotional resilience. You must be emotionally stable. You don't be desperate. You don't be fearful. You must have to do that. You must maintain movement in your body. You must build a community. Build a community. Connect with friends and well wishers who think good for you. And especially, you must continue to strengthen your body's adaptive reserve. Because the body is not just fighting tumor, no. The body is trying to survive the stress. The body is trying to survive the cortisol, the inflammation, the poor digestion, the fear. So you know that it's not only cancer that your body is fighting if you don't adopt a strategy. You are fighting malnutrition. You are fighting with. That's why when some people come to me on my DM and they say, a doctor said, I have aggressive cancer. I say, what aggressive strategy do you have? If you have aggressive cancer, it's because of the assault. You are aggressively assaulting your body. That's why you say it's aggressive cancer. There are no aggressive cancers anywhere. There are only people who assault their bodies aggressively. Take note of that. Take note of that. Because when you continue to assault your body, you will collapse your terrain. Now, let me tell you, how do you repair your body metabolically? We need to discuss food intelligently, not out of fear. Intelligent nourishment, because the goal is not probably to have a perfect meal. There may not be perfect. The goal is cellular nourishment. The goal is metabolic repair. Anytime you take up a food substance to put in your mouth, you must ask a question. Are you feeding cancer or are you fighting cancer intelligently? Now, many researchers now discuss the importance of insulin regulation. They discuss the importance of mitochondrial support. Are you eating in such a way to help your mitochondria? Are you eating nutrient-dense food that are rich in flavonoids, rich in carotenoids, rich in minerals, rich in healthy fats, rich in sulforaphane, rich in polyphenols, rich in omega-3 fatty acids? Are you eating such foods? I will give you instance. We have macadamia nut, we have walnuts, we have almond nut, we have pistachio nut, we have avocado, we have local eggs. I emphasize local eggs, not all those farm-raised eggs. We have olive oil. We have dark leafy green vegetables, broccoli, beetroot, bitter leaf, moringa, scent leaf. Do you know that moringa is 5,000 times better than chemotherapy? Moringa alone. You have to start eating to strengthen your body. You have to start eating to strengthen your immunity, because your healing, the capacity for your immunity to have that detection of cancer, fight it and stop it to the roots, depends on how you eat to strengthen your immunity. And yes, one thing I used to recommend is the vegetable-based fufu, because you have to use it as a strategic tool to save yourself. Combining leafy green vegetables with broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, beetroot, you make it into a swallow. If that's the only thing you eat in a day, you will supply yourself with enough fiber, enough phytonutrients, enough carotenoids, because you can add carrots to the thing, enough flavonoids coming from both the spinach and the green vegetables, enough sulforaphane coming from the broccoli. Do you know that sulforaphane has the capacity to kill cancer cells? But how many people here even know what is broccoli? And that is why you give up, because you don't have information. Now, tonight, I bring you information to equip you, to get you ready to win that battle. This is pure nourishment. And for many patients who you will need to reduce excessive refined carbohydrates, excessive ultra-processed foods, because these things will mess up your metabolic stability. And metabolic flexibility is equal to immune defense. Again, this is not magic, my friends. This is terrain support. And you cannot beat cancer if you cannot strengthen your terrain. Your capacity to be resilient depends on what you do. Now let's talk about oxygenation and movement. I shared earlier about Otto Warburg. Do you know that guy, he won an award because he discovered how cancer can change metabolic pathways, and therefore the cancer will now begin to survive without oxygen. So do you know that simple oxygenation can make your body hostile to cancer? Now let's talk about it, oxygenation. The human body is electric. There's chemical, metabolic, movement matters. Breathing, you breathing. Do you know that if you don't get oxygen for 3 minutes, you can collapse and die? For you to understand how important, do you know I've worked in more than 20 different care homes here in the UK, and there is one basic thing I have discovered. I have found that 95% of the people die because of asphyxia, their inability to take in oxygen. If you go to what is called the ICU, where people are on oxygen, do you know that in the ICU, they are looking for oxygen? If you observe people when they are beginning to die, they start having the eagerness for that deep breath. They start breathing deeply. They are striving to get oxygen. Now, even though in that ICU, the doctors and nurses are there breathing normal. So you see, it is not deficiency of oxygen, but it is the body's inability to take in oxygen. That is why 95% of the people die. So you think people die from diabetes? You think people die from cancer? People die from hypertension or stroke? Some of them is because they can't take in oxygen. They cannot absorb oxygen. That is for you to understand that oxygen is very important in the body and in the healing of cancer. Mitochondria, that's why in the house where you live, always you must take your pillows. There's some people that in the bed where they sleep, the pillow, they have not washed it for 1 month. In the bed where they live, they don't open the windows. There's no ventilation. When you get in there, it's so stuffy. There's no oxygen. You will feel like somebody is taking life out of you. And somebody that has cancer is there and hoping and praying to God that cancer will go. How can cancer go? It's an assault to the body if you're not taking in enough oxygen. Your mitochondria require oxygen because to efficiently produce energy, it needs oxygen. That is what is called oxidative phosphorylation. And now there are many researchers who continue exploring hypoxia, who continue exploring the tumor environment, mitochondrial silencing, the RSO. Now, a few days ago, one of my patients I sent to a doctor colleague of mine, Dr. Nelson. I think he's here with us, to do ozone therapy, introducing oxygen to the body. Now, the truth of the matter is, maybe the patient would have done it for 1 week and hoping that everything will be settled. But you have stayed for decades deficient in oxygen. How do you hope that in 1 week of ozonator or ozone therapy that you will cure yourself of cancer? You need to stay focused. You need to stay consistent. You need to get rid of oxidative stress. Why? Because in many integrative approach, we emphasize oxygenation. We emphasize several other things like walking, like sunlight exposure. Very important. When God created us, remember, he didn't build houses for us. He only allowed us to stay. We enjoy sun every day, except when the sun is very hot. You can go under the tree. So our environment might be causing assault on our body. If you are walking from your house to your office to your car, back to your house to your office to your car, and no sun exposure at all. In the olden days, hospitals used to take patients out and put them to enjoy the sun. Do you know, when I get into a hospital and I see a patient that I care for, maybe that person is under my care, I will write the doctor, say, please, can you put this patient close to a window? I need the patients to see the sky and to enjoy the sun. Do you know that more people who are closer to the windows survive more than people who are just in a secluded room? It doesn't matter if you put AC in that room. You need sun exposure. We talk about circulation as integrative healing. We talk about grounding. putting your foot barely on the ground. That is how your body can begin to get rid of negative energies that are residing in you and fueling cancer, that's residing in you and causing stress. We talk about sauna, we talk about sleep quality. A lot of people, they do not sleep optimally. Now, when we talk about movement is not because movement alone kills cancer, but because stagnant biology is really a healthy biology. Now, in most of the care homes I've worked, do you know that in these elderly people, we used to try to move them around in bed every 1 hour? Because if you don't do that, after some days, you will notice they start having bed sores. How many of you have visited somebody in the hospital, and when you turn their back, you notice they have bed sores? Not because anything attacked their skin, but because they are just lying in one place without moving. And if you have cancer and you are not struggling to move at all, how can you bring healing to your body? You need to move your body. I want to tell the story of Samuel Shepherd. This Samuel Shepherd story is very remarkable, but I can tell you it's about astaxanthin. Samuel Shepherd has what I call curiosity. He is persistent. He is refusing hopelessness. In 2003, Samuel Shepherd was diagnosed with a condition called polycythemia vera. Polycythemia vera is a rare bone marrow cancer. So do you know that the doctor told him that he has only 10 minutes to 10 years to live? Please, if you want to share the story incomplete, you can inbox me and I will send you the story. You listen to it yourself by the mouth of Samuel Shepherd. He's still alive today, 73-year-old, and still pulling up weight, still agile and active more than people who are 20, who are 30, who are 40. Samuel Shepherd. But he was given only 10 minutes to 10 years to live. Because the doctor said, because of the type of blood cancer you have, you can collapse even when you leave my office. But Samuel Shepherd reportedly began to explore. Because he was living on bloodletting. That's how he survived for 4 years. Every month, he will go to the hospital, they will remove his blood. Otherwise, the blood will become so thick that it cannot circulate round to the brain cells, to the kidneys, to the several organs in the body. Now, do you know that many people, when they might have this kind of case, they could collapse mentally? But Samuel became curious. He became obsessively curious, and he began to study. How many of you are studying today? How many of you have even looked into any material? How many of you have ordered any material on cancer? You only rely on your oncologist. When he tells you it's chemotherapy, you rush to chemotherapy. When he comes back and tell you it is radiation, you rush to radiation. When he comes back and tell you need to increase your painkillers, you rush. You don't study. You don't take out time to look at what you put in your body. Now, through experimentation, Samuel became deeply interested because he found astaxanthin. Astaxanthin is a powerful carotenoid pigment that is found in nature. If you go online, you will see astaxanthin. Samuel have used astaxanthin to cure more than 10,000 cancer patients. I'm not joking. You have his name. You go check him on YouTube. More than 10,000 cancer patients. He has used that pigment found in nature. Because that pigment, he noticed, he asked himself, first of all, because he had some money. So he began to do some research and asked himself, what are animals in this life that don't have cancer? And he noticed it's the salmon, the krill, the lobster. And there's something very peculiar with these animals. He noticed that they have some kind of color. So he became fascinated that, this salmon, this krill, these lobsters, they don't get cancer because the salmon, the krill, the lobsters are always eating the astaxanthin compound when they are in the ocean. They are fighting oxidative stress by eating those things. They are fighting inflammation by eating them. And now he decided that it is time for him to adopt that. So what I'm telling you tonight is that it is possible to make a change. My battery is already very low. I'm sorry, my battery is very low. But I will try. I'll try. Um, I charge my phone. However, um, sorry, my battery is low. I need to try and I'll try to be fast because we have a very short time. And I think now I'm not on um, TikTok again. I'm sorry for the TikTok family. I was talking about Samuel, and I tell you, Samuel was able to help himself in his physical experience. Samuel was able to, build resilience beyond prediction of his doctor. Samuel was able to overcome cancer and hopelessness because he made himself a person of hope, and he made himself a person of mental resilience. So history consistently repeats itself. There are some people that are life projections. I've had patients that the doctor told them they have 2 weeks to live. They are alive today. I've had patients that the doctor said they have 1 year to live and they're alive today. So what is it that they do separately? They try to stabilize. They try to respond differently. They try to improve their terrain dramatically. And some people even survive against all odds. Now, nobody fully understands these variables that are involved, but you need discipline. You need discipline. Rejecting hopelessness. You need discipline. Now, listen to me. It does not mean that I am undermining cancer, as it were. No. But I'm telling you that you need to be aggressive against cancer. You need to have an aggressive strategy. You need to have consistency. You need to build a structure. You need to have support. You need to be adaptable. If your sleep is poor, please improve it. No late night meals. No heavy drinking before bed. If your blood sugar is unstable, please address it. No high carb foods. No processed foods. If your gut is damaged, please support it. Eat lots of fermented foods. This will rebuild your gut. If you are inflamed, please reduce every inflammatory overload. Don't live close to an industry. Don't use, maybe I pass my neighbor a generator, and every time you have carbon monoxide infiltrating your room. If you are isolated, please build a community. Reach out to genuine friends that can support you. If fear is consuming you, protect your mind. Pray and trust God, because it is possible to heal. I want to really know, am I still live on? Am I still live? Doc, can you unmute and let me know if I'm still live? I'm sorry. I'm not live again. I'm not live again. Oh, God have mercy. I'll have to come back again. All right. I'm so sorry. My battery went flat. When I came back from church, I just said, let me take a nap. I didn't know that my phone was so low. I'm so sorry. My battery is low. However, I can assure you that I have a recorded version completely on Facebook, and I will send it in case you missed anything. All right. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. In case you missed anything, I promise you I have a recorded version that you can take advantage of. So I'm saying that we need aggressive strategy. We need consistency. We need intelligence. We need structure. We need support. If your sleep is poor, improve it. No late night meals, no heavy drinking, no too much eating before bed. If your blood sugar is unstable, address it. No high carb foods, no processed foods. If your gut is damaged, support it. Eat lots of fermented foods to rebuild your gut. If you are inflamed, reduce inflammation overload. Don't live close to an industry. Don't use a pass my neighbor generator every time you are taking carbon monoxide infiltrating into your room. Build community if you are isolated. Reach out to genuine friends that can support you. If fear is consuming you, please protect your mind. Pray and trust God, because we have stories of testimonies, miraculous healing, and God can heal you. Your body listens to the environment around you. You can start farming, or you can even own your own garden. I've told you last Sunday about gardening. Gardening can deeply be therapeutic if you have cancer, because it will expose your body to sunlight for vitamin D. It will encourage movement, because of course you have to move to garden. It will reduce stress, a lot of stress hormone, a lot of anxiety. It will improve your mood if you are gardening, and mood is important for emotional healing. It will connect you to nature, because when you garden, sometimes you ground, you put your barefoot on the ground. It will encourage deeper breathing. Do you know that God is perfect? And that's why when you stay around a garden, you are breathing in fresh air. Because of photosynthesis, the plant is taking out all the carbon dioxide and giving you fresh oxygen. Is that not oxidation? So if you begin to garden, I can assure you, you have 90% chance of reversing your cancer. It will give you purpose. It will give you hope. It will give you daily motivation. Now, my friends, sometimes healing is not about your medicines. It's not about ivermectin and fenbendazole. It's not about chemotherapy. It's not about painkillers. Healing is not about those things. Sometimes your body responds to peace. You must have peace within. It responds to purpose to live. You have children to take care of. Tell God you have a purpose. You can't you can't die and leave your children here to suffer. Your body responds to fresh air. Your body responds to movement, to sunlight. Are you reconnecting with that life again? And there are many survivors that I noticed that they share something in common. They become disciplined. They may not be perfect, but they are disciplined. I ask you a question. If you don't want cancer to take the big stool out of your life, are you disciplined? Are you disciplined? You need a working plan. You need to fight intelligently. And what does it require? Your daily structure should have sleep restoration, sunlight, walking, nutrient-dense meal, hydration. A lot of people, they don't drink enough water. And I've always told you, you must be adding maybe Celtic sea salt or raw salt to your water. Because I tell you, the body of water, the nutrient density of water is similitude to our own nutrient requirements. So when you take Celtic sea salt or deep sea salt and add to the water you drink, you are enriching your mineral reserves. You need emotional support. You need to cut out all the sugars, because you're overloading yourselves and fueling the cancer. You need to improve your bowel movement. You need to be consistent. You need to be consistent. The only way to win in this battle is not to give up after 1 week, not to give up after one month, not to give up even after 1 year. You must be consistent. You must have mental structure. No panic, no fear, no jumping in between protocol. Oh, today I tried this one, tomorrow I tried this one. No, it is showing that you are surrendering. I tell you tonight, my friends, I don't want you living with fantasy. I want you living with responsibility, because intelligent fighting requires discipline. It requires patience. It requires humility. It requires learning. It requires consistency. It requires courage. Cancer is complex, but so is the human body. If you know how God created your body, you shouldn't be afraid of cancer, because science is evolving. I want you tonight to reject all hopelessness. Study, strengthen your terrain, support your metabolism, protect your mitochondria, nourish your cells, support your immune system, and above all, do not surrender mentally. Because even in the darkest moment, the human biology, the human resilience, the human adaptation can still surprise the world. I've shared the story of the person, what is her name again? Miracle. Miracle, I have seen resilience. I have seen capacity. I have seen consistency. A young chap, only 25 years old. But when I look at her, I'm asking, I say, God, can you give me the type of guts that this young girl has when she was diagnosed of lymphoma cancer? And it just came to me. And I observed, I said, we're going to change your terrain. And I saw that girl. After I give her a little tip, she would take the tip and run. She will come to me like Nicodemus in the night, asking me, Doctor, what do I do about it? What do I do about this? He will even be telling me, look at that, this research said this and this research. And me, I'm now holding myself. I say, Miracle is now becoming an integrative oncologist. You, as a patient who has cancer, you need to be studious. You need to learn. You need to read. You need to expand your mind, because that is the way you become resilient mentally. That is the way you will not become hopeless. That is the way you will win. And it is my prayer for everybody who is under the sound of my voice that we shall win. We shall win. All right, we have only 6 minutes more. If you have any question, please do well to unmute yourself and ask question. I hope the battery life in my phone will be able to take it. But if you have question, please do well to unmute and ask questions. And also, I appreciate the doctors that we have. We have Dr. Huda. She's here with us. She's an integrative medical person. We have Dr. Nelson. He's very good, very versatile in the therapeutics, in supporting people to recover their health. We have our own host all the way from Gabon. Thank you so much for creating the link and adding everybody. And I see your endless contribution to the group. So I appreciate each and every one of us. I can also see that that is Dr. Raymond. Yeah, thank you for being part of this program. So if you have question, please, if you cannot unmute and ask the question, you can drop your question in the comment section of the group where you belong. If you belong, we have the Adaibo Global. We appreciate Adaibo because she was a person that gathered most of the people here. And we have my own group. We have the New Frontiers in Cancer Care Group. There are more than 6 different groups that are listening to this podcast. And I appreciate each and every one of you that have made it a point of duty to be live in this program. I ask you to be consistent. Even when it appears not to be working, I can assure you it is working. It is working. It is working. Thank you once again for being live with me. I appreciate each and every one of us, and I pray that God will grant us the capacity to stay focused and to heal. In Jesus' mighty name, we pray. Please have a wonderful night rest, and God bless you. Yeah.